welcome back to my relationship red flag series. This is episode 2, and it's what I'm going to be calling relationship stress. As I mentioned in my first video, I've been having a lot of conversations, a lot of video requests regarding very specific relationship issues, and so I have created this series expressing all the red flags that I've experienced, my friends have experienced, all of the stories I've heard compiled into one series to give my 2 cents that you might want to take with a grain of salt, realistically. Same disclaimer as my last video, just because a topic or concern shows up in the series does not mean that your relationship is doomed, it does not mean you have to break up with your significant other. It's solely just to remind you to be self-aware of things that may be happening in your relationship, may be happening in somebody that you know's relationship, and just give some insight on areas of concern or things to be a little bit more mindful of when navigating throughout your relationship. I think that's all I have to say. So relationship stress is a very personal topic to me because it's something that I deemed as a must-have when being in a relationship. And I feel like my feelings towards the term relationship stress have very much changed in terms of speaking to other people, realizing that other people have felt this too, and also being in a relationship where I haven't felt relationship stress. So let's rewind and talk about what I mean by relationship stress. There's this very particular feeling that I find has really only been a thing during relationships, asterisk potentially unhealthy relationship, where you suffer from this feeling of a weight on your chest, a lump in your throat, that constant feeling of anxiousness, suffocation that is associated with feeling like you can't be open and honest with what you want to say, or there's something that you're bottling inside, either an issue, either something that you want to bring up, but it's giving you this feeling of like, likely because you are either afraid of what that person's going to say, you know that the reaction and conversation is not going to go well, you don't feel accepted or respected by the person that you want to say these things to, you're already upset and emotional by the things that this person has done leading up to this feeling, or you're not sure if it's worthwhile to even bring it up in the first place. And I went through this phase a couple of years ago where I had a prolonged, it was like a 2-year period of not dating anybody, not wanting to be in a relationship, being very adamant that the single life was the life for me because I did not want to deal with relationship stress. I had been in relationships where that lump in my throat, the weight on my chest was 100% present, and I was always sure that it was just something that would be there in every relationship. Nobody wants to deal with conflict, and let's be real, a lot of the ongoing conflict that you'll probably have in your lifetime is with your partner because you are going through life with this one person. So in my mind, I thought this is an inevitable feeling. I'm going to live with this for the rest of my life. And you know what? I'm not dealing with it right now. Single Sam is here to stay. Fast forward past this 2-year hiatus, I had another relationship that yet again gave me relationship stress, and I was like, here we go again. This is why I've been single for the last 2 years. But alas, I don't want to be alone forever, so maybe this is just something that I have to live with. Let's press fast forward one more time, and I'm now in my current relationship where not one time have I ever felt that lump in my throat, the weight on my chest. Since then, I've had a lot of conversations with my friends who have also experienced this feeling of relationship stress, that feeling that you can't say whatever you want to say because you're afraid of how it's going to be received, of the repercussions of bringing a problem up and potentially starting a fight. And what I've noticed is that this feeling is associated with not being 100% comfortable with being open and honest and 100% yourself with your partner, which is a much greater issue in my personal opinion. Now, I don't have any experience in terms of starting a relationship with relationship stress and not feeling comfortable being 100% yourself and then growing into being 100% comfortable. That could be possible, but I personally never experienced that. But with my current relationship, we started on this foundation of friendship and being very open and honest with each other from the get-go. So we've been talking our asses off, not worried about what that other person is going to think of us, knowing that that person will never judge us or think poorly of us for something that we've said, maybe question, maybe challenge us, maybe have a different point of view, but I know in my heart that I could bring up and say anything to this person and they will take their positive perception of me and always have that top of mind, even when I'm bringing up a tough conversation. Now, in past experiences and what I've heard from my friends is that lump in your throat, that feeling is obviously associated with, oh, like, is it even worth it to bring it up? Like, it's just going to start this fight. I know he or she is not going to receive it well. I know they're not going to be able to blah, blah, blah. I know this, I know that. And then that feeling of the internal fight between having it bottle up in your chest and wanting to bring it up and potentially start a greater fight is what really brings that turmoil to life. Now, similar to my first video, I don't have a solution for any of these things. I will say though that if the issue is that you constantly think the person won't understand you and the person won't receive it well, maybe it's worthwhile to think about your delivery, the way that you communicate with this person. Is the way that you're giving this feedback being taken poorly because they're feeling attacked, or they feel cornered, or constantly under this microscope of criticism? So I think it's worthwhile to look into what you can actually control, which is yourself, and see if you need to change the way that you're communicating with this person to receive a better response. With that being said, it could also just be a compatibility issue. Maybe your ways of communicating, maybe your ways of dealing with conflict are in itself conflicting. If that's the case, is that a bigger issue that you need to tackle on its own? I said this in my first red flags video, but these videos are really meant for you to look at your own relationship, look at your own experiences, and have that sense of awareness, and then from there try and tackle and find the solution. Because every situation is different, every root problem is different, and I personally am not equipped to tell you what's what. But what I will drive home to you from my personal experience is that relationship stress and that feeling is not inevitable. You do not have to feel this way. This is not a feeling associated with relationships. It's a feeling associated with the misalignment that can happen between two partners in a relationship. So have a think about that. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below and what you want to see next in this red flag series, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.